This Friday there is a pep rally to announce our winter sports and acknowledge achievements. Senior class taco night next Wednesday, the 15th, and the seniors are also planning a Sadie Hawkins dance. The date is to be determined. Boys and girls basketball have a home game on the 14th versus Cal City, and boys and girls soccer on Ways versus Cal City on the 14th. Wrestling has a meet on the 16th versus Kern Valley at home.
Before we get into the showcase part of it, we'd just like to point out to you that we were the wall also this month, so it kind of went together. We, before Christmas break, had our students think about some goals or dreams or plans that they would like to set for their future, and then we represented that through flight. It does represent, just in case you take the time to read them, it does represent from elementary through high school because of our Abraham Lincoln students. My favorite one is, I want to be in b-ball, but my mom won't sign me up. So that's an example of an elementary one. So anyway, if you'll take a few minutes to look at that. I have been sharing with you throughout my principal's reports that we have had the art program going on at our school. Anger reduction, I can't remember what the T is, training? Yes. Okay, thank you. When Mrs. Mendaka-Notterman and I went to a training at the beginning of the year, one of the questions was asked, how many of you have art at your school? And everybody thought they meant drawing, painting, you know, and so a lot of hands went up, and then they gave the actual title. And then our hands got to go up because we are, at that time anyway, we were the only district in all of the county that is presenting this program to our students. Ms. Heather Coughlin, our school psychologist, who we have also adopted as one of ours, she even has a box in our staff room, has been doing it with the students for the past several weeks. So she's going to come up and present the program to you, and then Mrs. Mendonca is going to give you a little bit of a report about the students' reaction to it, and then I just have one more thing I need to come back for. Okay, thanks.
A little bit of background about myself, just really quick. I taught elementary school for 12 years, first grade, in 11 of it, and I did a gate fourth grade, and I really love first graders. I also, that was in Lancaster School District, and they did away with class size reduction, and I couldn't see myself being successful teaching 30 first graders to read, so I decided to become my next biggest dream to be a therapist. And so I did a community mental health in Lancaster at Valley Child Guidance Clinic, and at that time there were a lot of budget cuts, and you know, money is so scarce in this state, and so for some of you voters, you voted that people that make a lot of money get taxed at 1%, and that's in the Mental Health Act money. And in order for Los Angeles County to access that money, we had to go to evidence-based therapy. And so I was trained in 2 programs, one of which I was able to bring here, which is my Triple P parenting class. I was trained in that and accredited, and the wonderful county of LA paid for that. So, and then they brought up art, which I was not trained in, and you know, because they divvy it out to make it all fair and everything. But as I've been in the district, last year I did my internship, and then I was hired this year. And as I'm counseling students, I'm seeing a lot of anger. I'm seeing a lot of suspensions, a lot of, mostly the suspensions really bothered me. And I just thought, you know, we have a lot of angry kids. And I remembered this program that none of the other therapists got trained in. I went to a consortium for marriage and family therapists. I'm an intern at the moment, waiting for licensure for the state to say I can take my licensure test. And I asked my consortium group about what's a good anger management. I need anger management. Our district, you guys, I'm in these schools and they're angry, and art came up again. So I did some research and found out that, you know, you can buy the book on Amazon. You don't need official training. And it's the same author that I do social skills from. This program, it's called Aggression Replacement Training. Doesn't sound so great when you have to present it to students, especially because it's for middle school and high school students. So we call it art. So we call it the art class. Sounds a little better. I went to Miss Taylor my boss and I said, Ms. Taylor, I want to do art. I want to do an anger group at the high school, at Tropico, and I also want to do one at alternative education. Alternative education is where I went to first, and they jumped on board and they were really happy about it. A lot of research, it's in a lot of correctional facilities, and according to the website, you know, Wikipedia, which, no, I'm kidding, not Wikipedia. I'm only kidding. Their website, you know, art, and other websites that have touted the program. They're in 35 states in correctional facilities mostly. However, they did mention several school districts that have adopted the program and working it too. So I like that it's evidence-based because, again, I was a teacher for 12 years and everything is evidence-based these days. Evidence-based, evidence-based. If it's not evidence-based, then oh boy, you're in trouble. So, evidence-based. So basically what art is it's intense. It's 3 hours a week. 1 hour, 3 times a week. And the way the program is set up and the way that I've wanted to set it up to keep to the integrity of a program, because anything you know about evidence-based, it's all about the integrity of the program, right? Basically, so it's kind of like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And Mondays we do social skills. That's what we're supposed to do. This is what we're, you know. So for example, our first one that we did is the social skill was making a complaint. And, you know, it was very surprisingly when I said to the students, so what kind of complaints do you have? Oh, I don't complain. I'm like, oh, please, give me a break here, you know? I mean, I've been in Miss Nelson's and Miss Notterman's class and also Mr. Bartel's class, and let me tell you, there's complaints. So we like to use real examples from the students' lives for the social skills, but they're done for the social skills they're done in steps. So to make the complaint is, and you guys, they baby step this all the way. It's decide what your complaint is, and then it goes through to who do you need to complain to, and that's the biggest issue, isn't it? When we come down to things, we're complaining to the wrong people, and then. The most difficult step for them was to just tell them what your complaint is and tell them what you want to do about it. So one of the examples was a rumor. So they're role-playing this because that's where we get the generalization from the group. Okay, it's fine if sure they can do it in the group, but the role-play is to really generalize it. That's where we get the generalization. So they're role-playing and they're like, yo, how come you're spreading bad rumors about me? I'm like, time out. We don't ask why. Why just gets us into more trouble. Because the point is we want to keep them out of trouble. They need to solve their problems but not get into trouble. And obviously we were asking why, and then we get in an argument. And then, you know, they were able to tell me why it wasn't a good idea to say why. And then that's it. So, you know, you obviously practice this to perfection. And alt-ed, being alternative education, that took a lot of practice and patience on their part as well, because they were frustrated. And it's the anger control training. That is what we don't do. Okay? So for example, what we're doing is what they call the anger control chain. So you've got a trigger, you've got the behavior, and you've got the consequence. So right now we're working on what triggers you. How do you know that you're angry? My heart's beating fast, I'm sweating, I get a pit in my stomach, my fists, I mean, our fists will literally double up. Now, I'm talking about this, you think about what is your reaction when you're angry? You know, is your feet starting to kind of go because you're ready to, you know, but these are, and the emphasis here is anger is not bad. It is healthy. It's what you do with anger. Okay, that consequence part. Now, the fun part of the group is the moral reasoning. And the moral reasoning aspect of this is to help the group members put themselves into another person's shoes. Because, you know, we're so impulsive. You know, people that are angry are impulsive. And they're not thinking about their actions and the effect that it has on other people. So what they're given is at the end of the Wednesday, at the end of the anger part, they're given a problem situation. Okay, so this was the first one, and I'm going to summarize it just for the sake of time. But it says basically they're in high school. Jim and Derek are best friends, and Jim has a birthday coming up. You know how high schoolers are. It's about being the buddy, and So Derek mentions that he wants an MP3 player for his birthday. Well, Jim just happens to, be casually walking through the student parking lot and notices an MP3 player sitting on a front seat of a car in the high school parking lot. Door's unlocked. So what does Jim do? Takes it. And he gives it to Derek for his birthday. The unfortunate thing about this situation is the MP3 player was Scott's. And Scott is a friend of Jim and Derek's. So, we have a dilemma. Let's see, how does it? So, Jim's really grateful and everything for the birthday, for the present. But Jim sees Scott, and Scott mentions, dude, my MP3 player got stolen. And Jim, being the smart man, says that, hey, I got one for my birthday. And so anyway, so the questions are, basically they figure out that that it was stolen and that it was Scott's. So the questions are that the students have to answer is, should Jim tell Scott that Derek took his MP3 player? And, should tell, shouldn't tell. I don't know. And there's no right or wrong answer. I tell the students or the group members, no right or answer. How good of a friend is Derek? Would Jim be able to trust Derek not to steal from him? So these questions are, the ultimate foundation of this is trust, which is very important for the students that are in anger management, is a lot about trust. You know what? Surprisingly enough, the students agreed it is not okay to steal. Ms. Prindle, you are in good hands. Well, no pun intended. So, it came down to, and we talk about it, we debate it. They have to debate why they chose that. They have to hold their position. And basically in this particular one, they agreed that a birthday is not a good cause. However, if it's a survival, if you need it to survive, food, one kid mentioned diapers for his kid, that he would steal for that, that was okay. So, what happened in that particular instance, which was really interesting, because it does ask, what if it's a stranger? And they're like, oh yeah, well, it's a stranger. I don't know anyone. I don't care, it's a stranger. Well, I had met with these students. This was my third time. I don't know them. And one of them put his really nice, probably 5S phone down to go tackle another kid, because I also gave him candy for participation, and there was an issue with that, of trying to steal candy. So I walked over and took the kid's MP3 player. And I did. I literally put it in my pocket, and I was dead serious. I wanted to prove a point, and it just happened to, you gotta love those good, naturally, consequences. And some other kid saw it and said, whoa, dude, she took your phone, and he comes over and he goes, she took my phone, and I said, so you're a stranger. I don't know you. And that was dead silent. You're a stranger. I don't know you. You're a kid that comes to my group. I've met you, twice? He knew that he was going to get it back, so he gave up there. He's just like, whatever, and sat down. But it made a good point. So, art. Like I said, we've been doing it for a little bit. Tropico is just getting underway. I didn't have really a great response from RHS, but my biggest response was from continuing education. That's why I'm here. They've asked me to come and talk about aggression replacement training. So, that's my presentation. Does anyone have any?
I'm Mrs. McDonald. Our main Mrs. Nett and Donka, Mrs. Notterman. Mrs. Prindle asked me to speak this evening about the response we've had from our students. And when Ms. Coughlin first came to me and said, I want to start this art program, and me and Mrs. Prindle sat down, I said, sure, I would love to send home 12 permission slips telling parents that their children are aggressive. Let's do it now. So, I didn't think we were going to get a lot of response, and but I was on board because I knew we needed it. And I do want to, no one has said either that this is general ed as well as special education. And so I was really excited when finally we could get help for our general education students. As a special educator, I understand and know how to help my special ed kids. I can get them like that, any help I need, because Cheryl's wonderful. But it's harder for general ed students. And so when she came and said, no, it can be general ed as well, it was just opened up a whole door, and it was amazing. So, and I just publicly want to thank you for coming to us and including us in this. So we sent out these 12 permission slips, and I'm like, so we'll wait 3 years for one of them to come back. And it didn't take 3 years. In fact, we got all of them back. And not only did we get all of them back, we were getting phone calls, parents asking, why did you not include my student in your art program? I hear it's going to be good. And I said, yes, it's going to be wonderful. And so we had 2 students actually enter upon parent request. And then when they started the program and the students started coming back into the classroom, the other students wanted to participate. And so now we have a wait list of students who want to take this class. So here I was thinking, we're not going to get 12 kids, and so we have a wait list. So I think it's a testament to what she's doing and to what the students are saying. So thank you so much. You're doing a great job. And don't worry, they can make a complaint now. We're good on that.
For her investment in our time, and the students are getting used to seeing her on campus. They're greeting her, and she's learning to know who to avoid, not to avoid. So
that's a good point.
Comes with the property too. But as I've shared also throughout the year, this group this year has been a bit of a challenge for all of us, and seeing this implemented into our school, I think it's going to have some lasting effects, because I have actually witnessed students stopping and thinking about doing something that maybe they shouldn't do, especially when I'm standing right there. But anyway, one more thing I would like to do tonight, and then we'll be done. There's that old saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, as we all know in education, it takes more than just the teacher. It takes more than just the administrator. It takes all of those who support us in what they do. And this year, we, for the first time, again, credit to Ms. Taylor for this, have a full-time paraeducator in our resource class, which Mrs. Mendonca Notterman is the head of. Bobby Snyder came to us last year as a sub and was in the classroom only 3 hours a day with the students. She's with us now for the entire time that they're there for their instructional time. Bobby is a joy to watch. Without fail, when I go into the classroom to do whatever it is I need to do in the classroom, she's working with the students. She's interrelating with them. I often hear the kids referring to Miss Bobby. If they have a question, it's Miss Bobby that's going to answer that. And along with that area, Katie asked if she could just share a real quick story about the evolution that she's seen in Bobby's role in the classroom.
So when I first heard I got an aide, besides doing a happy dance, I thought, who are they going to send me? Working with our students, you have to have a special kind of personality and someone who can make connections with students, or it just doesn't work. And so when Bobby came in, she's young and she's pretty, and the students didn't like her. And so she came to me after the first day and she goes, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what to do. They would not ask her for help. And some of the comments were, are you sure she graduated from high school? Do you really think she knows algebra? All these comments, and I'm like, you guys need to stop, you know. And I said, Bobby, all I want you to do is build a relationship with these students. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to go around and say, hi, how are you? Learn something about them, and build a relationship. And she did that. And so I kind of backed away and started saying, if you need help, Miss Bobby's here to help you. I have some paperwork I need to do. And so, unfortunately for me now, the comments are quite reverse. And just last week I had a student who needed help on algebra, and I was walking around and I said, do you need some help with algebra? Well, yeah, but I'm going to ask Miss Bobby because you don't know algebra. And I said, okay. So I thank you Bobby, because I could not do my job without you. You're amazing. And you came in and you found what was special and unique about each one of those students, and that's special. So thank you.
This is a certificate of appreciation. Sorry, tearing up here. I told you it's going to be rough last year. This certificate is awarded to Barbara Snyder in recognition of educational services to the students of Rare Earth High School, Southern Kern Unified School District on January 8, 2014.
Minor projects were gotten done over the break. One of the major projects that got done, and I hope everybody is able to visit West Park to see the shade structure that went up over the kindergarten area. It's not fully completed yet. We will be adding a misting system to the shade structure. Obviously not needed now, but I'm sure in a few months we'll be very happy the misting system is in there, but the shade structure is up. And in addition to the shade structure, we re-poured the flooring or the padding that goes underneath the play structures. And it was a real interesting process, and it was so impressive that we are going to mimic that at United Park in the structure there, because of the way it works, and it was just very impressive. But we're really happy with the shade structure and what kind of is going on there. In addition, the partial, there's two parts to the West Park Park. We have we've already developed the soil in one area. It's our testing area. It's about half an acre, and we put in the water system, and we'll be testing that before we do the rest of the park. And so that looks like we're on our way for that too. But two great projects, and we're moving forward on both. And so, but the shade structure, if you can go see it and take a picture of it, it's really good. It looks nice, and we're real proud of it. So that's it for projects. 2 days ago, Monday, we have asked all food service managers to no longer charge for any meals at our cafeterias. So we are going meal free. So we've already had breakfast and dinner for those in the after school program, dinner for free. We at all campuses, including the high school. And we obviously have free and reduced lunches throughout our entire campuses. But after studying our financials and the efficiencies that we'd be able to manage in our food services with the help of Sodexo, our partners in the food service, we have decided that now it was always our goal, and now we're biting the bullet and we're going to go for it. And we are now no longer charging for lunches either. So a child in our district can come and get 3 meals a day without having to be charged for it. So we're really hoping that this not only inspires families to participate in our food services, but we hope it really helps those economically challenged in the community. If you are raising a family of multiple children and money is very, very tight, we are very much aware of the cost of feeding your family, and if your children can be fed by the district during the week, 3 square meals, and all you really need to do is really work on making sure they're well fed over the weekend. We think that's a really positive thing the school district can do. So we're really excited about that. We're very proud of the progress we've made in that area of helping the community, and we're looking forward to finding other areas that we can help the economically challenged in the community.
Well, as you know, school districts are required to have an annual financial and compliance audit every year. It's required by Ed Code, and that's what our report is all about. The main objective of the audit is to give an opinion on the financial statements, and due to a slight change in auditing standards, our opinion is now called unmodified. It used to be an unqualified opinion. Now it's called an unmodified opinion. It's the same thing. It's a good opinion. It's the clean opinion. That's the one you want. And that's the one we're issuing. And that's on our opinion in the beginning of the audit report. We have 3 other auditors' reports in the back. One is on internal control. And basically what that one says is that we look at internal control as part of the audit, but we don't look at it enough to give an opinion on it. We also give opinions on your compliance with federal and state laws and regulations, and for the most part, we were in compliance with all federal and state laws and regulations. We did have one exception in the state compliance area. That's kind of the highlights. Do you have any questions?
You go over so that the state,
Our
you
opinion
said
on
state
state
compliance,
compliance.
and even I got nervous right
It starts on page 62, and in this opinion, we list out all the audit procedures that are required by us by the state. The Department of Ed, Department of Finance, the Education Audit Appeals Panel, they get together and come up with what's called the audit guide. And we did have one minor exception with the school accountability report card. One of the requirements is to report on the facilities, the conditions of the facilities at all the school sites. And then we check the inspection report to make sure that everything matches. And there was no inspection done for the alternative ed site. So we weren't able to verify that what was reported was accurate. But we've talked to everybody about that. Everybody knows now that that has to be done, for next year, so.
Those inspections get done by Raleigh and Crew, and so the report or the
We
paperwork.
did have some findings last year that were significant, things that were money related. Those were all implemented and were no longer findings this year. We still have some trouble with the student body accounts, which, we're more than happy to work with the district on that as far as, any questions or any training, but for the most part, I think it was a very good audit.
Well, Jeanette, would you say that, speaking of last year, Ms. Garcia, would you say it's been, we use the word leaps and bounds, or if you want to put a percentage on it, than last year?
From last
I can
year to
remember
this year?
Yeah, yes.
As far as the district level, much better. I would say much better. School sites, we still have a little work to do, but as far as things here, I would say much better.
And so when we're talking about school sites, just so they kind of know school sites, so we're talking attendance.
Now, attendance was good.
Attendance was good.
Attendance was good.
And we're talking ASB accounts.
ASBs.
And that's really where we need to really, if we're gonna focus on anything, as far as a negative, we made improvements, but we really still need to continue to make improvements and clean certain paperwork up there.